first and foremost, for the Children's Museum, you'll be impacting the life of a child. If you're volunteering and working with kids, you have the opportunity to impact the lives of many children each and every day that come through the museum and their families. So, and also volunteering, it just really gives people, young people even, we get a lot of high schoolers and college age students, and it really gives them an opportunity to kind of explore different fields and work with different people and see what they really like to do.
We really use a lot of volunteers to come in and work with our kids, help those struggling readers, get them back up to grade level so that they can be a little bit more independent in their classrooms, help them pass those third grade MCAs, and then also just bring in some great literacy kind of activities and programs to the schools so that they can do anything from storytelling times to great thematic lessons. We have all sorts of different programs that come into the school through our volunteer mobilization and volunteer programs.
First of all, you're helping the community, you're giving back, and that's one of the big things that RSVP does, is that we do prove that 55 and better gives back to the community. Secondly, it helps a volunteer. We have numerous studies on the health benefits of volunteering for older individuals, actually for any individual to volunteer. It helps in depression, it helps in weight loss, it helps in just general mobility.
Having volunteers in our program is really important. They bring in different things that they are good at, their talents. They come in and share them. They're mentors for our youth, and they're just there to be an extra hand.
Without volunteers, we wouldn't be able to run half of the programs that we do. They support our programs 100%. Without having them in there working with the kids and with the adults, many of our programs wouldn't exist.
We wouldn't have programs if we didn't have volunteers. The Reading Partners program, our goal at Grant School is to have one reading partner for every child in the school. And you can imagine how many people that would be. So we have to recruit a lot of volunteers, and like I say, I don't think we'd have a program if we didn't have volunteers. It's really important, and I love volunteers.
The Boy Scouts of America is a volunteer organization. It's a volunteer-run organization. We have volunteers helping with character development for our youth locally here, training our adult volunteers and our youth, training our youth, helping with advancements, rank advancements for our youth, helping with all sorts of recognition items for youth and adults, and helping with our great program activities from camping to all the programs we have locally going on here.
The importance of volunteers for PAVSA just helps us get our basic, services met. We have volunteer advocates who fulfill the crisis line and hospital advocacy when the office is not open, and so those are essential to our program running. And then we also have volunteers that help set up the Take Back the Night events we have going on and planning it, and then even the night of we'll have lots of volunteers helping us set up and get the event running, and then taking down, and just from start to finish that the volunteers are who we use to get our programs out there.
We are an all-volunteer organization. I'm a volunteer. Everybody who comes out to the hangar is a volunteer. There is only 22 paid staff members for an international organization of over 3,500 volunteers. Our labor to complete our aircraft will be volunteer labor. Volunteer fundraising, websites, it's all done by volunteers.
Our program wouldn't run without volunteers. We rely on volunteers to do all kinds of things, from helping with dog care to learning some of the skills to facilitate with us. And we do tons of community events, and we're able to serve thousands of people because of volunteer help. We charge very little for our programs for local kids, and so volunteers make that possible.
We rely on volunteers to do a lot around the shelter in terms of sorting and organizing donations, doing things with the kids especially. We spend a lot of time down in the office, and the kids don't get to go down there, so it's nice to have volunteers to focus on them is my main concern.
Volunteers are important to the Great Lakes Aquarium because they really help to promote a great environment in our facility, and they basically help make our facility work a lot more smoothly and efficiently, and they just make the experience better for visitors.
Volunteers keep the organization fresh and new. It keeps people going. The more people that learn about sexual assault and domestic violence, the more that they'll become engaged in their community, and the more that they'll spread the word about nonviolence. The biggest thing that volunteers can do, other than working directly in our office, is go to our community events. Be a visible force so that people understand that domestic violence and sexual assault is a problem in their community, and they're willing to stand up and say, this is enough.
It's very important, like when we have our fundraising events, just to help support us, like with our annual fundraiser, Death by Chocolate. We have a sorority group and a community service organization that comes and boxes chocolates for that event that we actually sell to make a profit off of, and that helps with our annual budget and getting funds in for the year. And then also, we have some volunteers that come into our office that help with daily office tasks, and just getting the job done in a small organization is kind of tough sometimes to be able to fill all those staff positions, so volunteers are very important.
The importance of volunteers, well, no community is a good community without volunteers. People need to give back, because there are many people that are takers, but there are many people that are receivers, and we need givers and we need takers. That's what makes the world go round.
I mean, Chum is supported by a network of 40 churches, and certainly the congregations are really what holds the organization together. And Chum has a lot of moving parts, and so it's just important for people to do their part to keep the work going, and then the outreach work that I'm involved in. It's even more important. And, even the members of the renters associations themselves are volunteers. They represent people from the community who see the benefit in having the strength in numbers, so they can represent their own interests. So that's it. If you want to get something done, you have to pool your strength and point it in the right direction.